Hello everybody, welcome back. So, I have the Kfir C10 a day early. I'm gonna try to make a video with it while I have it early. I'm staying on this menu so that you see Dusk, Thunderclouds. I have played a lot of games on this thing already, mostly just to try to get a feel of it and how you, play it. And, a vast majority of them have just been fucking Dawn Thunderclouds. I'm actually losing my mind trying to get footage for this thing, man. But, anyways, we have this thing a day early. What is the Kfir C10? It is the event reward for the new event. Not really new, but like the Winter Tales event. It is this thing here. Is it good? Yeah, sorta. I mean, I like it. I don't think it's terrible. Your missiles are going to be very heavily limiting you. Your RWR is decent. Your radar is very, very good. In my opinion, it is the best radar set in the game because it can accurately, pick up and hold targets and track while scan. And I really, really like that about it. I think it's a very good radar set. It still has the annoying HMD issues, which is a little bit funky. The Gaijin still hasn't fixed that. The Derbies have good acceleration. They have about the same range as the R77s. It has worse maneuverability than the R77, so you want to keep that in mind. I am keeping this thing because I just sort of like it. I think it's a cool plane. It is something unique, which we don't really get all that much. Well, it is still top tier slop, I guess, but it's close enough to where it might not be in an update or two, which might be quite nice to play. I'm gonna keep mine because I want to be flying it. I don't know if you would realistically want to keep yours because I'm not sure if it's worth the Gaijin coin. It is quite difficult to play, so unless you know what you are doing and are pretty solid at top tier, I might not recommend this plane to you. I'm just going to put this mountain in between me and the missiles so I can try and block it here, and now we're going to push back up. Going and playing this plane in beyond visual range is not really recommended because, well, you're probably going to get slammed by an AMRAAM. Your derbies don't really have the range to contest, and even though they do have the acceleration, that's not really going to help you in longer range engagements, so you're going to want to play it closer. That also forces the plane into a bit of a weird spot, considering you don't have a ton of countermeasures, and the drop position of the flares is super weird as well, but you can make it work, as with anything. There's a lot of Eurofighters. There's a couple of scary things up here. I don't know what this is, but he's flying away, so that there's no way in hell that missile hits. There is a Typhoon over here flying towards us as well. I do kind of want to stay in track while scan here so I can gain and keep an awareness of the jets around me. Not fully sure what that is. The track while scan does not pick up phantom targets nearly as much as the other radars, but it is still very sensitive to missiles, something you have to remember. So it can just lock up seemingly random things in the sky when in reality it is not a plane, it is a missile. I'm going to fire at this Su-27. I am immediately going to try to get into the notch. This fight model is pretty good for notching things actually because you can pull a lot. He tried to fire an R-73 at us, baiting us into thinking it was a Fox 3, but we flare it as well. As you can see, we're already down to 18 flares, 33 chaff, which is not really good. Actually, it's quite bad. I'm going to try to pull in and get a lock on this Su-27 over here. And there's also an ice pretty close as well, so I'm going to sling one at him too. No connection on the SM. I'm going to want to fire another one at him, and I'm going to hold the lock this time. He doesn't, he's way too slow to do anything about that. We get a cheeky little triple. It looks like that team is mostly dead, but I am going to want to try to return back to the airfield just to grab some more missiles anyways. If you can play off of the terrain and if you can, just play well, this thing's actually a pretty solid plane, but if you are new to top tier or if you're not super experienced at top tier, it might be quite difficult for you to do that. So, I don't know if keeping the plane is going to be the best idea for you. That is a Typhoon. Hello. Hello there. So he just does literally everything better than us, so I'm just going to run away. Because you're going to get absolutely dicked down on the dogfight. As well as that, this plane is 13.0, so it does have the chance of seeing lower BR matchmakers. So you do have the opportunity to run into F4S with this thing, which is a little bit comical, because if you're trying to face off Sparrows with a Phantom flight model versus Derbies with a Kfir flight model, I think I know who's winning that one, and it's not the Phantom, spoiler alert. So yeah, not a terrible game to start off with. Could be a lot worse. And another thing that I would just like to preface by saying really quickly that some more inexperienced players might not have noticed. If you are trying to get this thing as a premium, it can only research these two ranks and does not get the premium bonuses of a regular premium. As you can See if you look at max vehicle research efficiency, so keep that in mind. It's going to be the equivalent of a rank 8 tech tree plane if you do want to do that. I'm sure most of you already know, but just in case. Anyways, we do have a full down tier here. The matchmaker's actually not been terrible, which is a good thing, because if you are getting constant full up tiers in this thing, you're probably not going to be playing super well, because, well, if you're facing Eurofighters in this thing, it's going to struggle, because it is a 3rd gen flat model. Your Fox 3s are fairly close range, so... But on the off chance that you do get into a full down tier, your missiles are now all of a sudden really, really good. Even though derbies are quite bad for long-range Fox 3s, when you're comparing them to Fox 1s, they're still incredibly strong. So, let's see if we can beam a couple of Phantoms. Yep, average chat, lol. Also, by the way, as you are flying in, keep this thing at 101 or 103 throttle, otherwise you will just overspeed and rip your wings off. It's a factor of all fears, just, yeah, don't do it. We have an F-14 up high. He's not really flying towards us. I'm gonna sling a derby at him anyways. It might lose lock here. I'm just gonna see if I can reacquire him. Yeah, it seems like it's tracking decently well. There we go. We splash him. There is an F4S hugging the ground. He immediately dies. What a shock. F4S over here is already dead once again. Another F4S. Probably going to be dying in a second. This guy has a missile out on us. We are simply going to 180 the missile and defeat it like that. Turn back around. Double check he's not going to get one off like that. Another issue that in this thing, which I'm mostly having, and I don't think you guys will, is that people target you a lot. It's probably just because no one's seen this thing yet, and it is, you know, very new and content creators only thing. Meaning you likely will get focused down by a lot of the lobby, which is quite annoying to deal with. We're going to sling off an AMRAAM. The issue F4S dies to it anyways. I'm going to make sure I don't get IR missile by anyone. I did not get the gun kill, unfortunately. It is not ideal. F4S pulling in. I'm just going to sling off a derby. It has more than enough maneuverability to make that. He is going to get absolutely slammed by it. No surprise there. We have a couple teammates going after that other Phantom, so I'm just going to turn back in and see if I can get a solution on this F-15 up here. I'm going to switch out of ACM, and I'm going to go back into it. Lock him up like that. Sling the derby up a little bit with the acceleration and range. It should be more than enough to slam this F-15 out of the air. He tries to turn a little bit. Will he be able to nudge it in time? Not quite. Yeah, that team got absolutely steamrolled. As you can see, this thing against Phantoms, not super fair, as I said before. What a shock. Who would have seen that coming? The matchmaker is going to be absolutely terrible when this thing drops, by the way, as well, so you're probably not going to get any of these games. Keep that in mind. And if you are playing a 12.0 to 12.7, your matchmaker is also going to be absolutely terrible, most likely, so maybe avoid those BRs for a little bit. 10 kilometers. I'm going to launch a missile at this fart smeller over here. I'm not even sure if he's fully aware of what's happening, or if he's going to try to dodge it or anything. He just fires a missile at me or someone else. Alright, most sentient F-20 player. There's a target like over here somewhere. I'm not really sure who they are or what they're doing, but I'm going to sling an AMRAAM at them. It's another F-20. He is also not fully sentient. Okay. If you do buy a high ranking premium, I would highly recommend you at least learn what your RWR does and how to, you know, defeat missiles before you buy it. Otherwise, you're probably not going to have the most fun time, I would imagine. But, I mean, you do you if you really want to. Getting a launch from behind. Oh, okay. We might just be dead to that. No, we managed to 180 it. This thing pulls a lot of AOA in certain angles, and it is very, very useful at times. He's dead. Sweet. I'm going to head back into track while scan and start hunting down the remainder of their team over here. Just try not to bleed too much speed. This thing does gain speed back very, very quickly as well. Your acceleration after mark is very, very nice in this thing. So that is a quite large positive, but you just don't want to drop down your speed too low. Otherwise, you're just kind of floundering around on the deck like a fish. Like a fish who's going to die. A very sad fish, probably. There's a Gripen over here. He seems to be doing a decent job against this F-20. There's a Mirage. Mirage. Gonna sling one at you. He's probably dead to the F-20 before mine gets there. Nope, the acceleration of the derbies. You love to see it. I'm gonna try to lock up this Gripen, fire off a derby. it's going to be more than good enough to track and hold unless he multipaths it here, which he does successfully. Might have even just been like notching or defending or something. It just sort of missed him. I don't know if this Griffin's lost. Yeah, he is. We're just going to be bullying him. Someone's going to have to gun kill this guy because he has more than enough, yep, countermeasures. And he's still not dead yet. Insane. There we go. Bonk. That is game. He is very dead. Yeah, that's the Kfir C10. Pretty good games overall, I would say, in it. I don't think it's that bad. I actually quite like the thing. I think it's very, very cute. The Acer radar is extremely nice to have. I can actually maintain track or scan awareness a lot better. Derbies are pretty good close range, I would say. The acceleration is very nice on them. Yeah, I would say it's pretty solid. If you don't want to, if you're not experienced at top tier, if you just don't want the jet, if you struggle to play these sorts of aircraft, I wouldn't really recommend keeping it because you're going to struggle with it quite a bit. But if you are experienced, if you know what you're doing, I would say, honestly, maybe give it a try, maybe not. It depends how much you want that Gaijin. But, yeah, I think it's pretty solid. I quite like it. My experience is not representative of yours, so make your own decision on it. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. I will see you tomorrow with probably a gambling video because I have a ton of golden eagles. Alright. That was a dog show laugh. I'm never doing that again, sorry. Alright, goodbye.